Recently I got asked how I structure my C++ projects, and I figured I'd show y'all how I do that based on two projects of mine. The first one being my interpreted programming language noct, and the second one being my game engine origo. So I'll just be going over the basic file structure, some design decisions I made in terms of structure, and some mistakes I see a lot of beginner C++ devs do. And yeah, let's get started. So let us take a look at the basic files that we have. The most important one is the source file. Here's where you'll be spending most of your time in writing actual code. Then we've got tests for testing stuff, vendor for third-party libraries, and the build where your final executable will be sitting. So some things I'd like to say about the source file. What I see some beginners do is, they separate their files between header and source files, and that's valid, but the thing they do is they just keep them flat and linearly laid out in these two distinct folders for source and header files. Now, I feel like your source file should display intent, so you should be able to read or go over through the projects or file structure of the source file and see that like the files are categorized. So if we take a look at the parser, for example, all of these kind of header and source files that are sitting in here, all of them are needed to be able to build an abstract syntax tree. And that's exactly what a parser is doing. It's building this abstract syntax tree. So thus all of these files are somehow related to each other and revolve around each other. And this is very nice because if you're some kind of person who didn't develop this, you can still see that all of these are linked. And you can also see like I separate between expressions and statements. And yeah, just trying to separate stuff based on semantics and intent is just in general something you should try to do. Now, so additionally, next to the source file, there are some Clang files that are very nice to have. For example, this Clang format file, if you set that up properly in NeoVim, you can basically describe how you want your C++ files to be formatted within this Clang format file. And now, for example, I like my tabs to be of width 8. Linus Torvalds does that as well, and I copied that from him basically. So, for example, if you go ahead and do this, and I save that buffer, you can see right here it immediately formatted that, and also keep these 8 space size tabs. So yeah, that's very nice to have. Now, additionally, I've got this Clang tidy file, and I like this file a lot because what it does is it basically warns you whenever you're violating a naming convention, and in here you can like specify how you'd like your naming conventions to be. To be honest, the syntax of this is very weird, but it's very useful. So you just do that once, you define your naming conventions for, I don't know, private members, public members, functions, classes, and stuff like that. And then it will always remind you if you're somehow violating them. And this is especially useful when you're building with a project with multiple people who just use different, naming conventions. Now, for building the CMake lists.txt file, this is the most important file. In here, you're kind of describing how your binary is built, what standard you're using, what compile options you'd like to have enabled, what vendor libraries you're linking. And yeah, like this file is essential. So you'll also have to learn the syntax of CMake to properly structure this. And in here for the noct language, this CMake lists.txt file is pretty trivial. So you can see right here I'm creating a project, giving it a name, setting the standard, yeah, just adding the executables for the tests and also creating a library for noct, and also defining the executables and removing that from the noct library since it's not part of it. And yeah, once you get the hang of the basic syntax, creating this is very trivial but super powerful, because all you have to do is you have to first write the build files, and then you just run this, and this option right here just gives or lets the project be built in parallel, so using multiple cores, and doing that will produce a final output. So yeah, now if you go over to the origo project, you can see right here it's a bit more complex, so there are a few more files. We also have something called a PCH, and PCH are super useful because they well, they decrease your compile times by a lot, because what they're basically doing is you're basically specifying a lot of includes you pretty much need in any file. So for example, vector is something I use pretty much everywhere. So instead of me having to always link that and then each source file always having to build up all of this code right here, what we can do is we can specify that in the precompiled header file, and that's just linked to every kind of project. And yeah, it's very useful to look into this. It's used a lot. And yeah, now if we go over, you can see I don't have a source file because I have two projects in origo. I have the engine core and I have the actual editor application you can see when, I don't know, I'm running the engine. And yeah, each of these has their own CMake list.txt file. However, the main architecture stays the same, and also, like you can see, I still separate directories with intent, whether it's origo or the editor, and I still have tests, for example. And yeah, when I have somehow assets that I'm using within an project, I usually create a separate folder for that called resources or assets. So for example, in here you can see there's the logo of origo, and yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for structuring your C++ projects. I hope you learned a lot and could take away something from this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, bye bye.